Good evening. My name is Rosie Grant, and I'm the Executive Director of Paterson Education Fund. And it's my privilege to be here this evening. PEF is a nonprofit organization that's been working in the community for 34 years now. And we hope to continue to work to represent Paterson community in education-related interests. I do want to uplift that we have two of the Community Engagement Steering Committee members with us. Dr. Clayton was already mentioned, and Charles Ferrer. Thank you both for being here and for your leadership. Would you like to make a translation announcement? No? Okay. Do we need to make translation announcement?
السلام عليكم. أول شخص تحدث معنا الكونسلمان أندري صايغ، تحدث عن 6 وورد اللي هو المنطقة السادسة في مدينة باترسون، وعن أهمية البلاي جراوند اللي عملناها والمدرسة اللي على مونتكلير افنيو، البري سكول على مونتكلير افنيو، وسكول 16 وسكول دكتور هاني عوض الله. بعدين تحدث لنا رئيس البورد اوف اديوكيشن، رئيس مديرية التربية والتعليم كريس ايرفينج، حدثنا عن أهمية، وهو ساكن في منطقة باي ذا واي، إنه ساكن عندنا هون في باترسون في اوف ليك فيو سكشن. و مس روز شيز نون بروفيت اورجانيزيشن اللي هي جمعية خيرية، اوكي، صار لهم 34 سنة 34 years في مدينة باترسون، بيخدموا السكان والطلاب في مدينة باترسون. طبعا رحبت في اعضاء المجلس اللي مستر كلين ريفرند اللي هو بيكون فاذر ريفرند كلين and Mr. فرار. هذا كل شيء. شكرا.
And then say, does anybody need translation?
اي حدا بده translation اترجم له بالعربي؟ ما شفت. لا.
Thank you.
So, un anuncio rapidito. Si alguien necesita ayuda con translación de española, me puedes preguntar a mí.
Gracias. Thank you. So I had the habit of asking, does anybody need translation in English? And I realized that doesn't work. So thank you to these two gentlemen for being here. I want to walk you through our participants guide. On the front, you will see that we have listed all the forums. I thank you for being here today. I hope that you will pass on the word to your neighbors, friends, families, so that they can join the other forums. You could come to any one. It doesn't have to be the one in your ward. They're all open to the community. We have two goals for the steering committee: to establish the community's vision for Paterson Public Schools in 3, 5, and 10 years, and to articulate parents' and community's vision for our children. So those are the two things that we want to address while we're here this evening. If you open up your participants guide, you will see on the inside we've given you some information about Paterson State Superintendents, the interventions that they brought to Paterson, and the commissioners that they served under. And the one thing that I want to point out is if you look at the third column, that's the one that shows the most changes. We've had several, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 by quick count, 11 commissioners of education while we've been under state takeover. Everyone with their own interventions. 8 state superintendent, everyone with their own interventions. So be sure that the next person to come to Paterson will bring their own interventions. But what we want to do is to make sure that they're clear about what our vision is for our schools and for our children. So the conversation we have tonight will be summarized with the conversations that are happening across the city, and we will present that to Dr. Irving and the search team so that the community's ideas and thoughts and opinions are expressed to the search team, and they use that as they start looking for a new superintendent for Paterson Schools. You'll see your agenda with the 6 questions that I will ask you listed, so I won't go through those now. On the back, who we are. Well, I missed one. Here on the inside, the people who are actually doing the search, the people who will work with the search firm. 2 of us are in the room, Reverend Clayton and myself, and we will work with the search firm and with this team to find the right 3 candidates, which we will then recommend to the school board, and the school board gets to make the decision about the final candidate. On the back is a steering committee for these community conversations. It's a broad, diverse steering committee. We tried to put together people who represented whatever walk of life you belong to in Paterson, so I hope we did represent all the stakeholders. And then I want to finally bring your attention to the ground rules. They're rules that we use in regular conversations all the time. Be respectful, be present. That's referring to the cell phones. Kind of pay attention to what's happening in the room. Speak from the perspective. We want your opinion, not your neighbors or what you heard. We really want to hear what you're thinking. Be self-responsible and self-challenging. Listen before speaking. Lean into discomfort. It might be uncomfortable for you to say it, but we want to hear it. So whatever it is, this is a place for you to express that. Step up and step back. That's self-monitoring as well. If you find that you're talking too much, step back. If you find that you're not talking enough, feel free to step up. Make mistakes and then let go. Accept conflict and resolution as necessary for learning. We don't expect much of that here, but we'll see. Be comfortable with silence. Sometimes we need time to think. Be crisp and say what's core. And I'm going to strike the last one, honor confidentiality, since we're on camera. There's not much confidentiality happening here tonight, but please do have the freedom to be open and honest. Good? Okay, thank you. So I want to start with our first question. First question is, what is your vision for Paterson Public Schools 10 years from now? So if you think about Paterson Schools in 10 years and we're successful, what do you want to see? And this young lady is going to bring you a mic, so just raise your hand and she'll bring you the mic.
Better education, better school system, safety.
So they're scribing, so let's give them time to capture as well.
Well, safety, better education. Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, who
I'll leave it
else?
for others.
What do you want to see in Paterson Public Schools in 10 years? Back there. We can't hear you. Thanks.
I would like to see 100% graduation rate is what I would like to see, and I would like to see at least 80% of our high school graduates going on to further higher education.
Thank you. And please, if you're in the room, you can participate in the conversation. You are a part of the community.
Well, the buildings of the school to be in a better environment for the students and, to match up with other towns and counties.
Okay. Thank you. One back here. "100% graduate all the buildings comparable to other communities."
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to see the truth in our city. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Hold it a little closer.
The truth.
The
we need
truth.
the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We need the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We
Do you want to
need-
say more there?
We don't need side talk. We don't need side promises. We don't need what we're going to do in 5 to 10 years. We need to know what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay.
We don't need what they think they're going to be able to do. We need the truth. We need it now.
Okay.
So,
Absolutely. Honesty. Okay, thank you.
I would like to see more students graduating from high school and also graduating from college, which is even more important. And
Thank you.
coming back to our city to serve our city
Yes.
and make it better. I know it's possible.
Thank you. So okay.
I would like to see, or actually know, what tests our children actually need. Okay, not, for instance, park is one that our children are doing the after-school program, but we hear that our neighboring towns are not participating. So I think we're putting our kids under a lot of pressure by giving them too many tests, some which are not needed. I rather see more after school programs that could benefit them. Should they be low on, let's say, reading, let us have a program that will help them with that. Math. Not give them these after school programs that are not going to mean anything. So
Yes.
it's the over testing that I think that I'm going to criticize.
Okay, I heard two things. one, the over testing, and
The
two,
over-testing.
after school programs that are enriching.
Our kids
not
are being
test-based.
over tested and they're tired. I know, because I work in the school system.
Yeah, thank you. Now let's think about, there's one hand down here. Let's think about 5 years from now. There are some things that practically we could see as improvements in Paterson Public Schools in 5 years.
Thank you. I think one of the things that I can see for now is the academic standard. We need to work with the academic standard. We need to promote arts, sport, and cultures. And this is one of the things that I can see in 5 years and maybe less than that.
Okay, thank you. It's culture. Any more, one over here, ideas for 5 years from now?
As stated last night, I would like to see more virtue classes where students will actually learn from other parts of the world, more diversity in our curriculum, and in all more technology updates, meaning that parents can also view classes, also go online and see what their children is actually doing and participate in different events.
Okay, thank you. Now, how about a year from now? If this school board is going to hire a superintendent over the next year, what are some things that you think are really important as we think about the vision for Paterson Public Schools?
I would say family involvement, parents' involvement in school and board education. So board education will be in everyone's house. I mean, to put more pressure on the families, so we'll keep our kids away from streets, drugs, and crimes. And I think that would be the best goal to achieve within a year.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to see schools have intervention meetings, hopefully every month. Have parents come in, make it almost like a requirement to talk about what we're doing right here, what we need for their kids to do better in school.
Thank you. Did I see a hand back there?
You have to forgive me. I don't really know that much about education. I'm not a parent. I don't have any children in the public school system. But I think it would be a good idea if the new superintendent reached out to the community and maybe had some kind of a volunteer program where we could come in after school and help students with their homework or help them in any of areas where they were weak. I know I would be willing to do it, but it's just something that I think that if you reached out to the community, you would be surprised how many volunteers that you would get. It's just an idea.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are we ready to, oh, behind her.
I would like to see someone first that understand the challenges that we have as a district, and second, I would like to see someone from Paterson that really understand what is this about. And I think a person living here, from here, would have a better sense and a better understanding of what is happening in our district and how and find viable solutions to our challenges.
Hey, thank you. So that bullet was someone from Paterson and someone who understands what our challenges are. Our second question. Many of you in the first question, in the answers, mentioned things that I think are family and community supports. So this question goes to that issue. What types of family and community supports are important for student and family success? And we captured in the first question after school help with community members going in to volunteer for homework. What are some other things that we could capture?
I thank the Reverends for being here, because I think that what would also benefit our children is an outreach from Reverends like yourself, like in Martin Luther King. We have one, and it's made a big difference. So maybe going to churches or reverends, pastors, wherever church you go to, have them also talk to parents and reiterate how school is important to our children, and that there are accountabilities for their actions. They may be young, but they have to be aware that they have to be accountable for their actions, whether they're in school or out of school.
Right here, Rosie. Right here. I think one of the most important things you can do for a child is support their mom and their dad. So I think one of the outreaches that we should start exploring and looking into is how can we better support moms and dads, so that we're more on a team type of effort and initiative. And because it's my experience, sometimes they don't feel comfortable coming into our buildings, first of all, so it's not easy for them to ask for help. But sometimes just creating spaces where it's easier to find out how we could be more helpful.
Thank you. What other supports do you need, or you think that your neighbors may need, when it comes to supporting the family and supporting the child? Okay, I'll move on to the next question. What specific parent and community outreach and engagement do you expect from your school superintendent? We've talked about the need to reach out to family. How? What? What do you expect when it comes to outreach?
From dealing with the last superintendent, I didn't see him other than going to a board meeting. I didn't see him at the little meetings that the schools have for parents. And if you don't go to a board meeting at the main building, you may not ever see the superintendent, other than if you have a problem. And that's a big issue, because most parents in our city can't travel to Kennedy or to the public, to the actual
90 Delaware.
building, to 90 Delaware. So yes, they would like to see the superintendent attend a school board meeting for parents once in a while.
Okay.
Half of these parents don't even know that there are meetings out there, there are outreach programs out there. They don't know. You know why? Because half of the board members don't come to the meetings either at the schools, so they don't know.
So you want the superintendent,
I want the superintendent
and the
I
school
want
board
everybody on
members.
board. Every member that's sitting on the board should be
Hold the
able
mic.
to. Every member that's sitting on the board should be able and willing to go and seek every school in this city. There should be
PTO
no. There
meetings.
should be yes. There should be no reason for a parent not to know who their board members are, who they can turn to, not just a principal, not just a social worker in the school, who the actual board members are, who they go out and vote for.
Right.
They shouldn't just vote for them because their name is on this piece of paper, because it doesn't mean a thing.
Thank you. Someone else, what do you expect when it comes to communications and engagement? Is everybody here on the district app? No. You are? You have another suggestion? So maybe the app isn't working. So what I'm trying to get from you is, how should they communicate? We have one good suggestion. They should actually go into the schools and talk to the parents. What else can they do?
Some of the committee meetings that I think require parent involvement sometimes occur before 5 o'clock, and they tend to go from 3:30 to 5. Sorry. So I think if we have a better understanding and establishing norms on what would be the best time to have those type of meetings so that we could have optimal turnout, I think that would be something that would improve engagement.
Okay, thank you. Any other ideas?
Thank you. I think we should use more like the social medias and the news to promote every kind of activity that the district has. I think that sometimes it's, most of the time parents don't get to know what we have and the calendar, or, what is the next activity. So I guess we can use more like social medias and technologies to promote more like the activity that the district actually have.
Okay, thank you. Behind you.
You just mentioned the app. That's great. Now, how can we let all parents know that this great tool is available? So it is important to create a communication plan and get aboard as many parents as possible.
Okay, thank you. We need a better communication plan so that we can we're not successful at communication if the audience doesn't receive it. One here.
I think maybe trying, instead of just making it Kennedy High School and 90 Delaware, why don't we try having meetings in different schools? That would be, if we can't get one ward, we can probably start with a different ward, and maybe that'll get more incentives, so trying to go to different schools.
Thank you. They used to do that many years ago, rotate amongst the high schools. Okay. Time to move on. Next question. I want to talk about our children now. Your children, the children we serve. Think long term, because we have to know what this vision is in order to communicate it to the candidates. What is your vision for your children beyond high school? How do we make them successful adults? Welcome, welcome.
Okay, this might be a little controversial. I would like to see free college education at all public colleges and universities for every single child in the United States of America, funded by a 3.5% fee on all Wall Street transactions.
Thank you. Not controversial in this audience.
This is my experience. So I have a senior about to enter international high school. It's going to be hard, but I just graduated from the college myself at PCC, and he said he wanted to go to PCC and then go
Hold the mic closer.
and then go to a university. But he hasn't been talked to go to any college. Other than his programs that he goes to, they talk to them about out-of-state college, but not in-state college. And it's not fair that we have community colleges here that do far better than these universities do with our children and with other children. I believe that the social workers and the guidance counselors need to push more of a community stand than any other thing. Because guess what? When they get out of high school, it's either we're going to turn the corner and we're going to go to this community college, or we're going to turn the corner and we're going to go somewhere else. So I would rather for them and him to go to a community college at first. And if he doesn't like it, then he can just get a job and succeed at that job.
Thank you.
All right.
Your vision for your child or children.
Yes, I envision my son going to college because my son is really bright, thank God. However, with the cost of living being so high, we don't know. My son is only 11, so I don't know how expensive it will be. So I'm in favor of trade schools. Vocational schools after high schools, to me, are phenomenal. I think we should have a lot more than what we have.
Thank you.
My vision for my children and my students is that they have an opportunity to become equipped with skill, to actually partake in authentic learning, where they're applying skills, not just being tested on skills, but actually applying those skills in their realities, in their communities, in their, applying the skills with purpose to solve problems, to resolve issues, because that's when learning really takes place. And in that process, children, sometimes find what it is that they're passionate about, and then they're able to, learning isn't hard, learning is easy. And it's not that I want, my child to be rich or anything. I want my child to be happy. So I think it's important that we focus on children's strengths, provide them opportunities that they can apply their strengths so they can get better and develop and find a career or a job that fulfills their purpose. That's my vision.
Thank you. Okay, back here. I know these two gentlemen are parents. I want to hear from you. What is your vision for your child or your children? I'm picking on you, yes. Haven't heard a word.
The constant vision that I have for my children is to be in a better position that I'm in. One of the things that happen, especially going through and dealing with different things in life, is that regardless of all the smiles and the things and the good thoughts and everybody says, life is still hard. And with life being hard, the only way to prep our children for the difficulties that we're going to be facing is to be able to get them into an educational environment where they can excel and exceed, especially and not have the same type of bumps that we had as we were moving forward. I remember days when, like, I'm sitting in, like, I had to sit in detention, days sitting in detention, but warning our children of the days so they don't enter those certain things. Warning them of, you know what? I think you should study a little bit more to get a little bit higher on your SAT because you might get that scholarship because I was denied it because I scored too low. And that would be the best way to, like, sum everything up. It's just that a better future for my child than what I had. Less struggles.
Thank you.
Just very briefly, college is not as expensive as you think it might be. And I hear what you're saying about the community college. There's STEM programs at Passaic County Community College, 2-year program that's free. And then they have sister colleges that you can go to after the 2 years that could possibly also be free. As a parent, I've been preparing my son since he was pretty much born about the levels. When he was in 5th grade, we started looking at high schools. Start going to all the different high school open houses to find out which one he really wanted to go to. In the 8th grade, he went on his first college tour. Every time we go on a vacation, we don't go into any state without visiting colleges. When we were in Texas, we went to Texas A&M, Baylor, University of Houston, several colleges there, Xavier when we were in New Orleans. This year we were in North Carolina. We went to Davidson, Queens College down there, UNC Charlotte, UNC Chapel Hill. We were out in Las Vegas last year. We went to UNLV, and I was surprised to find out that UNLV was only about $20,000, and if they said if you had good academics, you can probably get about $13,000 in scholarship money, and if you played any kind of sports or something like that, you might get the rest of it covered. So it's not as hard, but you have to expose them, you have to talk to them. That's what I do with my son, and there have been students that have gotten more than $1 million in scholarships. So for the parents that are here, scholarship.com is a door opening for you. It gives you deadlines of when you should be applying. I always tell my students to look at these sites, and any information that I get, I try to share with them so that they'll know what to do, or their parents. So it's about talking, but what I also do is I also tell my students, research what you want to do, the colleges and things like that, and then present the packet to your guidance counselor so they've done most of the work, and then they can direct them the rest of the way. Because if you do part of it too, we're all in this together. You have to do, I'm not depending on the guidance counselor to do everything for my son. I'm doing it, and I'm letting them know what we're doing so that we're both involved. So that way, if you start, then they can give you some recommendations. So maybe we need to come up with a site where we can share information about different scholarships. There are programs out there. If you're left-handed, there's money. If you're Indian, there's money. There's all kind of money out there, and people are getting it. So that's what we do, and hopefully my son's academics are good, and the main thing is the academic scholarship, because that's where the bulk of the money is. The sports stuff is just the extra.
Thank you. Back here.
Thank you. I have my brother who's 10 years old, and he's already told me, he wanted to be a doctor, he wanted to be a lawyer, an astronaut, like so many things that he wanted to do. So I see in my brother graduating from high school with the skills to decide what profession he wants to have in life. But I see my brother also getting involved in the community. This is something that we have to work on. We have to get the kids to know the city, to know the history, because this is where we live in. So we have to make sure they develop as the city also develop too, so they can contribute to the city as the following generation is going to continue with that, continue contributing to the community. So I see my brother as that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to share a vision? Over here.
Good evening. I've had the pleasure of having 4 young adults graduate within our family from high school this year.
A little bit closer.
I've had
Thanks.
the pleasure of having 4 young adults in our family graduate from high school this year. And one of the things that I think that I would love to see us do is to improve our career readiness. We do a great job, a good job, I should say, on college readiness, getting them prepared for college. But for those young adults who don't think college is for them and they want to go into a career, whether it be a chef or a medical assistant, technician, and they want to pursue other technical school stuff, I think they're at a loss. They don't know what to do. So I like to see them to get more skills in that while we're in high school. I think if we improve that, it would give some of our youngsters who really want to go into those areas and not pursue, college. I don't want to say pursue higher education, but not pursue college. It would give them some more experience and some more feeling that they can do that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Seeing no more hands, I'm going to move to the next question. Number 5. This question is our hope to protect some of the things that you might think are working right now. So think about school as it is today, as you expect it to be in September. What are some things that you really like about your school? What are the things that you would want to see stay in place should this new person come in with a totally new vision?
My son goes to Norman S. Weir, so that's a very small school. So with that being said, the classes there, the class size are small. And that's the one thing I do love about the school, the fact that it's size control. I think that matters a big deal. And the fact also that in our school at Norman S. Weir, parents come together. When we have parent night, we are there present. And that to me makes a big difference.
I was going to speak about my son is at the same school, Norman S. Weir. They're a very good school. But my other 2 children are in high school, and their school is wonderful. I had doubts at first, but the principal is phenomenal. The vice principals are great. Everybody in the school is respectful and know their role in the school. And that's what you want. You don't want somebody to come into school and act like they're one of your kids and want to be one of your kids and then try to teach one of your kids. We don't want that. So if anything, we want it to stay the same way, at least in the 2 schools that my children are in. We don't need any interruptions. We don't need anything leaving the school, like any technology leaving the school, any extra curricular activities leaving the school. It's bad enough that they only have 1 football team, or it's just crazy right now. So we just need everything to stay the same. Nothing to go awry.
My daughter went to Dale Avenue in School 26, and she had the best teachers. Even when she had a substitute for the whole year, it was a good one. Anybody else with things that they want to see stay in place, things that they like about their schools?
I like that the school that I work at, Dr. Frank Napier Academy, is a community school, and I look forward to developing, looking into how to make the community school a little bit more communal, with the focus on community. So it's a beginning, and I'm looking forward to exploring it.
Okay, thank you. And now for my final question to you, and then there's some opportunity for additional comments. If you could ask the superintendent candidates one question, what would that be?
I would ask them what their experience was in an urban school district.
I would ask the new superintendent what his short and long-term goals are and how he's going or she is going to measure them, measure the progress.
What are his long-term goals and short-term goals of her, and how do they measure them?
I would want to know what he or she, like the same thing, what he or she is going to be able to do for our community as far as dealing with the teachers, dealing with the students, dealing with the parents. We need to know what he or she is going to be able to do, not what they think they're going to be able to do, what they're going to do.
Here.
Okay, mine would be, I would like to know what he or she would do to stop laying off staff members that are like personal aides, instructional aides are needed in our schools, and every year it seems that we're laying off teachers, personal aides, and instructional aides that help enhance our children's future. And that really bothers me a lot because I see that our kids are in dire need of personal aides, and teachers do need instructional assistance. It's sad. It's sad to work in a school system and see that this is going on and parents not knowing about it. It's kind of like trying to hide the truth, and I don't like it. Me being a mother of a 504, a child with disability, they took his benefits away, his physical therapy, and they never told me. I found out later at the year. So I think I would really want to know what they have intentions of doing, how they intend to fix this problem.
Thank you. Anyone else with a question that they would ask the superintendent? Well, the candidates.
Oh, the candidates. A question that I would like to ask is, what is the platform related to parental involvement and community engagement? That would be my question to the superintendent.
I think a good question to ask the superintendent would be, since there is a financial situation here, what outside of the box thoughts would he have for generating new sources of income that would help to move some programs and projects forward? And the reason why I say that, having my son go to a Catholic school of 270 students, from second grade to 8th grade, every year we raised $100,000. Okay? So I just feel that with a district this size, if with 270 students and their parents, let's say 100 or so odd parents, whatever, if that can be done in that school, what could we do here? And we have to begin to think about that, as well as looking at writing grants and things. There's a lot of money out there, but we're not tapping into those areas. So since the state is cutting us short, we have to become creative and find other money sources. So
Okay.
that's what we need to look at.
Thank you. Any other responses to a question that you would ask of the candidates? I want you to note that there will be a community forum that the search committee will host towards the end of the search, where the community will be invited to come out and interview the final 3 candidates. So if you haven't liked us on Facebook yet, I encourage you to do that, Paterson Education Fund, and we'll certainly put that announcement out when the district releases it. So my final question is, what did I miss? Is there something that you want the search team to know as a member of this community or as a parent that didn't come up today? Seems like we asked the right questions. So hearing none, I do want to thank you for coming out tonight, for taking the time out of your busy schedule. This information, as I said earlier, will be incorporated with the other 5 forums and will be presented to the search team. We'll also publish a community report so that you can see the feedback as well. One, you thought of one. That's okay.
Okay, I wanted to know, what is the search team looking for? Do you know? Do you know what you are a part of the search team? Okay, so I'm asking you. Okay, so when you guys do officially meet, is there a way that we'll know what you're looking for, or is it a way that, you know, we can have, because we're asking questions, but that doesn't mean you guys are gonna say what we say. So we need to know that you guys are gonna uphold what we say and not just go by your own side agendas. We don't need that.
The search team is very broad. It's made up of 13 people. We come to it from different angles. My angle is community. My work is providing information to the community. I'm not a part of the district. I'm independent. And we work for transparency, and we work for accountability, and we work for the children of Paterson Public Schools and their families. Of course, there will be some things in the search committee activities that will be confidential, but I will certainly advocate for the release of as much information as possible to keep the community informed. I did hear from Dr. Irving, who was here yesterday, who said that they were planning to do community forums, so rather than do them twice, since Paterson Education Fund is doing it, they will take the information that we gather from the community from these 6 forums, and that will feed into developing the profile for the person that we will be looking for. So I'm going to hold the committee accountable as much as I can, and there are other members here that I'm sure that they will also hold. Everybody has one agenda or the other, but we have to come together as a search team to find the best person for Paterson kids.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying as far as you guys are independent and you guys are outside looking in. But you guys have to understand that this is our city. These
Absolutely.
are our children. Mm-hmm. And we, at the end of the day, our children come home to us. Mm-hmm. They don't come home to you guys when they don't have school books, when they don't have pencils to back up on in school, or the teachers don't have erasers and all this other stuff that they need in the classroom. They're not coming to you guys. They're coming to us as parents. They're not going to come back to you and say, you chose the wrong superintendent.
Right.
Because you didn't ask them what their budget was going to be, or what are we looking for as far as a superintendent. We don't need somebody that's going to come in and say, oh, we need to fix this troubling city, because our city is not troubling. We need an honest superintendent. And if we don't get one, you can best believe we will fight as hard as we can to make sure they do not stay here.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I think we should look into is their training. I know the Trenton Education Association, they did a superintendent search, and they kept on getting superintendents from, the search firm kept on producing superintendents from Broad foundations. Now those, the Broad Foundation is someone who basically brings people from corporate America to run school districts. So they don't necessarily have a background in education. They're basically trying to just manage that money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering, is the search committee familiar with the Broad Foundation? Are they looking into that? Are they, going to consider whether or not where they were trained? Because it's, we had a Broad superintendent in my town where my students, my children attend. We had one here. We had the two. We didn't have one, but he was a Brody. Oh, I didn't even know. But she brought some practices into our community, and we ran her out. And I'm just concerned that because we're state takeover, we won't have the ability to run somebody out if they come bringing. I can't wait. Yeah, I know.
So, absolutely. So I can't answer your questions. As I said, the committee has not met yet, but your comments will be duly noted and will be included in the report that is presented. So I do want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Get home safely, take cookies and juice with you if you can, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.